Viva Aaliyah. Viva Aaliyah. Viva Aaliyah.
Hey Vivas, and welcome to another episode of Viva Aaliyah. We are in season 4 and more than halfway through our season. Still can't believe that. I think Dominic and I are both always like, it's episode what? We are on episode 12 of season 4. As you know, we do 22 episodes a season. So we are, like I said, more than halfway through. I'm very excited for today's guests, but I also want to let you know that we still have episodes to go. So continue to tune in. We have lots and lots and lots coming up for you. And I want to get this interview started. So he is one of the guests that I've been dying to interview. And I wanted to make sure we were solid. We were in our game before we had a person of this caliber, in my opinion, on the show. His first show was picked up by Time Out magazine, then started to shoot covers for Attitude, Boys, QX International. I almost said that backwards, a little dyslexic here. Now has covers for Vogue, Elle, GQ, Late, Cosmopolitan, New York Times, and Galore. Has been a celebrity photographer on Drag Race in 2015, reoccurring judge for the Boulet Brothers Dragula. His 2018 project, #GayFace, which would love and always love a gay face, had people in a 6.5 by 6.5 box. His book, Why Drag, because drag is amazing, had, of course, New York's amazing Keisha Carr in it. Delta Work, Sharon Needles, Tammy Brown, Alaska Thunderfuck, Milk, Bianca Del Rio, Adore, Jinx Monsoon, Madeline Hatter, another a legend of New York City, and his book Rainbow Revolution, which is about queer identity and visibility. Start with an empty white box. He is none other than, also, fun fact, he has a beautiful dog named George. He is none other than the celebrity photographer, the gorgeous, and when you hear him speak, you will fall in love instantly, Magnus Hastings. Give it up.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Well, I say I'm good. I've got COVID, so this is my COVID. I'm in my COVID cave, having food kicked through the door at me and wine.
Is the dog taking care of you?
The dog is now so old. He's a little bit mad, so he's we take care of each other, and he kind of sometimes shakes and stares at me, and then other times he's playful and young, but he's all right. We cuddle each other in our senility.
I mean, if that's what you look like with COVID, though, come on now. The rest of us are like...
You're very kind. I feel like... yeah, anyway.
Well, I am very delighted to have you on the show. You are somebody that I have watched throughout my drag career, and I've seen your art up. Your art was actually up in the Out Hotel for a while, correct?
Yeah.
Which is unfortunately no longer in New York City. But I remember performing at Excel and being there and just having an amazing time.
It was a moment, the Out Hotel. It was really fun.
It really was.
Yeah, I'd stay there and then I'd shoot for the because I got this exhibition agreed, and then I would shoot for the exhibition, and I'd stay in the hotel, and they'd give me a cheap room, and I shot Bianca. I dragged in a background, shot her in the room, shot other people at the elevators, would just use the whole space. So it was a really fun time doing. That was 2014, I think, when that happened.
Wow. It was, wow. I've been in New York for quite some time then. I was actually managing Lucky Chains at the time. So a lot of people came to you for their photography. But I'm just so delighted to have somebody who has been such an integral part of the 20 teens and before queer movement and you've put out quite a bit and have really showcased not just what it is to be a drag queen, but what it is to be a queer person in your art. And so thank you for that. But before we get into the details of that, of course, our number one question on Viva Aaliyah, what are we drinking? What's in your glass? What's keeping you sane during COVID?
Well, mine has been mixed up. Right now I'm drinking because I'm ill, so clearly I have to keep drinking. I actually didn't drink for the first 3 days of COVID, which was a stretch. But now I'm drinking Cabernet, and when other than that, it's vodka, soda, and lime, the typical gay, calorie-free drink. Still makes me fat though.
Well, cheers to you, and cheers for you being on the show. Thank you for joining us.
My huge glass.
As it should be.
Yeah.
You know, you got to keep yourself medicated during the times of COVID. Even whether you have it or not, and alcohol will always keep us going.
Well, I know that 2 year stretch. That's why everyone's an alcoholic. Everyone's slurring already. Everyone's an alcoholic by the end of the 2 years.
None of us speak or read anymore because we've drank ourselves to.
Yeah. Dry January. I mean, what the fuck is dry January? Who's doing that? No one I know.
Never heard of it. Well, I'm lucky enough, so I couldn't stop drinking anyways. It's just in my blood. We have to keep going.
Yeah.
So you've been in photography for quite some time, and really, I think you go beyond photography, in my opinion. Just what you put together is you put together books, obviously, but you have an eye for something that isn't just snapping a photo. So what got you into photography? Who was kind of like your inspiration? I know you started yourself. You taught yourself photography.
Yeah, well, because my dad was a sort of semi-professional. He was a lawyer, but a semi-professional photographer. So he would have stuff published, and so I grew up watching him. He'd had a dark room, and I'd watch him. And he did people portraits as well of like beautiful women, very kind of cool. So I'd watch these amazing black and white pictures come through, and fell in love with that kind of magic of that. And then I don't know. I trained as an actor, and I was a child actor and wanted to do that. But I also picked up my dad's old equipment and taught myself. In my bedroom, I had a sink, so I turned my bedroom into a dark room, no pun intended, and basically taught myself. And so I was acting, went to drama school, but at the same time I was taking pictures, and I did it under another name because I didn't want to be an actor who took photographs. And then I finished, and then I just suddenly woke up one day and went, I don't want to act anymore, and sort of threw myself into photography, and it just worked. It was like what I should have been doing. It worked. Within 6 months I was earning a living, and then being picked up by, as you said, I mean, I became a huge headshot photographer in London, which was mind-numbingly boring, but made me a fortune, and mostly in cash. It was like I was doing 5 people a day. I was like the top 5 in the country, just like, headshots. But other than then, I had shows and things. So it kind of, sorry, my COVID's making my brain spin from one thing to another. It's going to be an incoherent.
We're following.
Yeah. So then when I packed in acting, and then I had my first show. I went into like this gay bar, which was the legitimate place to show gay photography, and I said, so can I have a show? And they went, well, can we see something? I went, yeah, and I showed them, and they went, oh wow, okay, and they gave me a show. They just said yes. So I remember, and I did quite a clever thing. I took photographs of the kind of, like the queer celebrities in art. So say when I was in New York, it would at the time before Drag Race, it would be Bianca, and it would be oh god, I can't think of any names now.
Bunny.
No, not drag queens. Like people like I had a couple of drag queens in there, but it would be the faces like I can't think of anyone, but the faces of New York, of gay New York. So I did the faces of gay London. So it was like a celebrity exhibition, but I had immediate access to these people because they were the gay celebrities they were gay famous. So I had this thing, and I did huge, colourful portraits printed on PVC. And I remember sticking them up in this place, looking at them going, well, I like them, but I have no idea if anyone else is going to like them. This is really scary. And I put them up 11 at night, and I went off, and I came back, and the next day it had kicked off, and Time Out magazine had come, who had an office around the corner, came past and went, oh my God, and they wrote about it as a thing to come to. And it blew up literally went boom from there. And then all the magazines, gay magazines, wanted to use me for covers. So it was like it just happened. It was what I should have been doing. I mean, I'm 6'4", so I was too tall to be an actor anyway. And I was, I was doing bits and pieces, but no. And I also wasn't happy. I was bored. And then photography it just happened organically and was the right thing for me. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. And when you were, obviously you said your father, you looked up to him when you were photographing folks, but did you have any other role models in photography or anything?
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, the people who I loved were, first I really loved David LaChapelle, but I stopped looking at his work because I kept coming up with ideas that were similar. And at the time it was 20 years ago, people were going, because at the time, first of all, my influences were like 60s David Bailey. So those black and white, incredible David Bailey things. Obviously, my brain today, lesbian, most famous photographer in the world.
Aaliyah.
Vanity Fair covers. You know who I mean. Oh, what is Ellen? No, not Ellen von Unwerth, even though she's amazing. Anyway, anyway, it was always very commercial, very quite obvious people who are very I'm like Nan Goldin's amazing, but she's so different from my style. I like stuff that was very kind of quite polished and quite cool, things that really sort of, and the Rolling Stone covers and Vanity Fair covers and things like that I was obsessed with. Things like that.
Were you thinking Annie Leibovitz?
Yes, Annie Leibovitz. But also, then what depressed me though about her, as I researched her and looked into her, was when you see the old pictures of these people working when they first started, and they're rolling around on the floor and they're getting these images and they're really involved. And all I know now is that Annie Leibovitz is just talking about her first class flight and her this and her that, and her assistant set it up, and she walks in and goes click and walks out, and what's that? It's not, for me, that's not the point. And I've heard that about lots of people. I'm not going to go into names, but it's, it should still, I don't get the idea of no matter how successful you become, just letting, yes, have a million assistants, but go in there and get involved as well, because it's your work, because rather than just a formula. So I don't know. But they were my influences, and it was always very, and what's the other one? So I'm seriously, this COVID is doing my brain, and this could be a very long interview.
We're a team now, so you think of it, and I'll try and guess it.
No, thinking of all the kind of okay, I'm going to describe. It's like charades. The one who did like sort of like the women in heels and women dressed as men in alleyways with lights over them.
Oh,
yes,
I can.
Helmut Newton. Oh, okay, Helmut Newton. There we go. So anyway, let's not try and make me think of anyone else.
You actually have a really good eye for not only people, but like putting objects with them in how to
composition.
Composition, exactly. How did you trained yourself in photography? How did you train yourself to get those like curves and lines?
You just see it. I mean, I always thought everyone saw light. So when I was younger, I remember thinking, because when I look at anything in life, I'm always looking at where the light's falling, where the shadows are. When I'm looking at any friend, I'd always know which place to sit in the bar because I knew where the good light was, all of that. And fuck my brain. And so sorry, my head is just like.
I am enjoying everything you're saying. So
no, but it's just, this is weird. I thought I was fine, but clearly I'm not.
Composition light.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I thought everyone saw light, and then I realized. Then I remember asking someone else to take a picture, and seeing that they just didn't. They don't see that, and it was something. It's like the thing that is, I guess, a gift and the way. So it's all natural, and I know I'm good at groups. I'm good at getting shapes in groups, and I actually love doing that. And particularly, like for instance, on the cover of Rainbow Revolution. It's like this playing around, getting that balanced group shot that's also interesting and fun, and all of that. And it seems it looks so simple, but believe me, that's really the least simple thing ever. Just getting that to sort of balance and be right and see everyone and everyone look great and all of that.
Speaking of,
but yeah,
you're actually leading us into the next portion, which is what inspired you to start the hashtag gay face and then leading into the Rainbow Revolution?
So I'd finished Y Drag, and I'd been, I promoted that, and I was like, I'd worked for so long on that because the book came from the exhibition. I had a big literary agent in New York approach me and say, would I like to turn it into a book? So he signed me, and then we went around all the big publishing agents. And bizarrely, even though drag seemingly was, I was part of the movement of it becoming very mainstream, but bizarrely, he thought everyone would want to pick it up. And every publishing house we went to, there was like there'd be people going, "This is incredible," because I had half of it done and a foreword written by Boy George already. And all the publishing houses, people loved it, but there was always someone going, usually a straight man, going, "Ugh, drag, no, it's going to be over in 5 minutes." So it went round and round and round, and it was the final. We got one offer in the end, which was amazing. And because it was just seemed to be the thing. And now, of course, had it happened 2 years later, everyone would have been fighting for it. But anyway, we went with my amazing publisher. Here I go again. Chronicle Books. And so so anyway, so I'd finished that, but it had been such a long process because I'd spent a year after the exhibition, I was running around the country, getting it together for the book. So the whole thing took 3 years to do the Y Drag. So I've been so obsessed with that. It came out, and then I was in a complete kind of funk of going, what do I want to do? But also, I'd very much not put I kind of neglected the trans community in that book. And at the time, and it's funny, it feels there's an outdated element of it, because at the time I was approaching it from going, I don't want to confuse the person who knows nothing about drag. So I specifically didn't put trans drag in there, even though now there's about 5 people who've come out as trans. So it has trans drag in there. But it was something but I also felt like my next thing, I needed to make up for that. And I wanted to also be much more inclusive of the community. Plus, I'd always wanted to do something called gay face. It was just a name that I loved because it was an insult. And it was like, the way I just thought it was a really cool name because it's going, well, this is the face of gay, and we're fucking incredible. And, that was the kind of idea. But anyway, so I was sitting in a bar, thinking, what can I do for my next project? What's the thing that everyone uses now? It needs to be social media friendly. I thought, okay, fine. I want it to include everyone, fine. What's the best shape for social media? And I went, okay, a square. Well, then why not a box? So then a box is like a box people can create their own world in, and it could be a piece of theatre. Next
really
time, don't get people with COVID on your show. Seriously, it does affect your brain, doesn't it? I heard.
Oh, it does. Yes. Well,
yeah.
you've got people who are not even LGBTQ loving what you're saying. So.
No. So anyway, so I basically so I did the whole thing about what was going to be the most social media friendly and creative and inclusive. And I didn't want it just to be drag. And obviously I don't want to repeat myself. Everyone was going, are you going to do Y Drag 2? It's like, no, I want to do something. I want to include drag queens because that's my world and I know everyone. And then it became, I shot so many drag queens. It became I was a bit like, well, the only drag queens I really included were generally RuPaul girls because it would then pull in focus when it was released. I mean, not in the project, I included everyone, but when it became a book, I was then having to select. But also, anyway, so the initial thing wasn't a book. And I went, also, the thing that I thought up was, what if I shot 100, 150 people in secret, and at the same day, at the same time, everyone dropped their picture from absolutely nowhere. So no one knew about it. So it all went boom, everywhere. So and I went, so in 3 months, I went round and I sent things to certain people. I invited people to do it. I also got people to help me in New York and help me in San Francisco. And I built boxes everywhere. And in 3 months, and it was the hardest 3 months of my life, I went around shooting constantly and no one was allowed to have their picture. So no one even saw their picture, because I knew that if they saw it, someone would leak one, or they'd get bored of it, or they'd forget. So basically, I shot all of these people. I nearly didn't do it at halfway through because my back went and I was just going the retouching. It was just hideous. So anyway, on the actual day, the 4th of May, 2018, half an hour before noon, I had 2 assistants, and we basically sent everyone their images then to be dropped at noon. And then at the evening, we had Willem lent me her space in Hollywood, and I had a exhibition, like a live exhibition. But anyway, at noon, and I was like, are they gonna post? I mean, it was terrifying, thinking like this could all fall flat on its face. And at noon, everyone, every single person without fail went boom, and they were doing it was like a game to see who could do it first. And I think Alaska did it first. And it just went completely from nowhere. It went everywhere, and it trended on Twitter and went crazy. And it was a thing I'd never seen that personally done before. So it was a thing that, everyone was going, what is this thing? What is this white box? And then that turned into the beginning of the project, that then it became a thing that people wanted to be involved in, and very much a queer space. And then it turned into my next book, which had always been the idea, but I spent 3 years. It was another 3 years shooting and living with a box in my home. Yeah, Jade did it. Forcing Jade into my box.
Wow, look at all of. I mean, honestly, I've
that was in Folsom. I took the box to Folsom and built it there, and just shot all the people at Folsom.
You have, wow, yeah. I mean, going through all of these, we obviously, like, I'm a big fan, so I've seen all of these. I love all of these, but you have so many amazing queer people that were a part of this. And how did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? What was the?
Some people reached out to me, and I reached out to some people. Some people had I'd sent out this thing, so some people would have their own ideas. Other people I'd have ideas for, or I'd have an idea and I'd cast it. So it was just. I mean, half the fun was I'd sit there and think up, what can I do? Like the mermaid one, I want to do a mermaid with like terrible homemade waves, and I want them to be a chubster rather than some cut muscle guy. I want it to be camp and silly, and that to me is hilarious and super gay and wonderful, rather than
those terrible homemade waves are beautiful.
Yeah, that was the point. I wanted it like bad summer stock. Summer stock splat.
I mean, you also had some in-depth things for the queer community, which I don't know if Dominic will put up, but you had trans folks that were naked in your book. You had queer people that were naked and just like letting it off. And how did you balance kind of that? Some people will eroticize that. Some people will look at it as art. How did you balance all of that?
Sometimes it was because sometimes it was meant to be erotic, and sometimes it wasn't. And sometimes it's like I did Riley Reid, the porn star, the bisexual porn star, and she's got a huge 6-foot inflatable cock, and she's writhing around, and it is very sexual. And I had to. Most of them you could. And actually, I didn't ask her not to wear underwear, but so I had to be careful with those shots because there's lots of them. You've got full back vagina popping out, but it's and other ones were just about being naked and exposed. Like Eureka's is basically naked and exposed, and it was about.
You had like Buck Angel in there.
Yeah, well, we started, funnily enough, with Buck Angel, because in my blurb to people, I said, come and express yourself however you bring props, paint the background, spray paint it, paint yourself, do nothing, use the space, or take your clothes. And I said one of the things was take all your clothes off, do whatever. A lot of people decided they wanted to take their clothes off, but Buck came in sports stuff, and we were playing around with caution tape. And then I said, do you want to just take your clothes off? Because that's kind of the point. It's kind of the point of Buck Angel, isn't it? You've got this guy and then a vagina. So let's just get on with it. So and then he was like, yeah, of course. And so we did, and then it made total sense. It was like silly to kind of not do that.
It's one of my favorite photos of the book, honestly.
Oh, really?
So I mean, I just it's like the truth of what men are. Men can be one thing or another, and that's the truth of it. Buck Angel is a man with a vagina, and I was like, it's not an erotic photo necessarily.
No, it's not at all erotic.
It's a truth telling photo. It's a photo that shows what the world actually is.
Yeah, I mean, there are other much more erotic photos where people aren't naked. It's like, you know, it all depends, but there's some that are and some that aren't. I like there's some where I did the one of Bo Banks, which was a whole creation with him flying on an H-bomb. But that, and you know, I have some very sexual ones, but we chose one where he's just being super campy. Like the idea was to be a pin-up, like a, you know, 50s or 40s war pin-up flying on a bomb. And the one we chose, or I chose, was he's roaring with laughter and being really girly, rather than being typical porn star thing. And you know, it was because it wasn't about. It's about joy, and it was. I remember saying it was kind of about joy, but it's also it was very much about the Trump time. So it started in. When did I start shooting that? 2018. Yeah. So it was the end of, I think. Yeah. So it's just campy and silly.
Yeah.
But it was about the community going. It was just when Trump had started causing all sorts of trouble and fucking up trans rights, and it was like, right, I want to do something that is basically being loud and fuck you, and we're not going anywhere, and so that was the point. It's meant to be joy filled, but also an aggressive fuck you. Like I've got a girl dressed as Trump in there. I don't know which one I put in there. I had one with his. I don't think I did one with where Trump's trousers are around his ankles, like they've fallen down. I mean, it was aggressive, but then, but I only in the end I only put it in small because I didn't want a huge, great page of even. And my friend who dressed as Donald Trump and had done it before she said it was so uncomfortable every time she did it as a drag king. She'd just get people being so vile to her because it just felt everyone was so filled with hate. It was a weird moment, but anyway, that was
it's crazy that even as a artist, somebody, I mean, obviously we know what he's done in this world, but somebody would be so vile towards a performance artist even. But you really have, I mean, you've captured so many things. The cover shots you've done, this book, not only the Rainbow Revolution, but your first book, Why Drag. I just remember every single queen that worked for me at Lucky Chang's, and this was before I've been doing drag for 16 years now, but this was before I even did drag in New York. Everybody had like, oh, I got shot by Magnus. I got shot by Magnus Hastings, and did like the half and half faces that
wasn't me. That was that other guy who did.
No, I know, but they were like, everybody that did that was definitely like somebody who had like lined up to shoot with you, and I remember everybody being like, oh, I can't work tonight. I'm going to the Out Hotel and I'm shooting with Magnus Hastings.
But there was the worst part that I was doing, and this really makes me sad. Because I have a thing that I do, well, I haven't done for a while, but I do these huge panoramic things where I put together. I did one in London of all the movers and shakers of Soho, basically shot, and then I put it together like one massive shot. And I did those of Marco fashion shows. So there's like 40 people all in one shot, but it's very, it's about composition again, but I shoot them individually and in groups and put them together. And I was doing that at the Out Hotel, and then it snowed. Remember that crazy 3-month snowy winter, and so it fucked up my shoots. And then my hard drive got completely corrupted, and I lost all the shots. So I had groups of people coming to the Out Hotel to shoot in that, and I shot loads of stuff, and then it all got lost, which was a bit of a nightmare. So I'm sure lots of them were coming for that. Yeah.
I just remember being like,
why aren't I invited?
Y'all don't even know I do drag, and like And my husband who sits right here and rents my camera and everything, can vouch for me on this. I have two goals in life. One is, and I will say this publicly, to be shot by you, and the other one is to be in a Marco show. I want to walk. I want to be shot by you, and I want to walk in a Marco show.
That was all happening combined at one point.
No, I'm like.
You let me know when you're in LA, because I'm not moving for a while. I'm not moving out of this. Oh, you're in LA. What am I talking about? You're in LA.
No, I will be in LA next month. I'm in New York. I'm in actually I live in Washington Heights right now. So,
Okay.
But yes, I will be in LA next month. I'll be there for a week.
That was your agenda, wasn't it? Invite me on, and then get a shoot out of me.
No, but if it works, I will take that as as something I did on purpose. We are going to take a very quick break just to refill some glasses and allow you to collect your thoughts. Even though you've said you've had COVID, but everything that you've said has been perfectly wonderful, and we've had great response too. So thank you for everything so far. But we'll be right back after a word from one of our sponsors, and we'll see which one it is. Hey Vivas! We've been together for 3 seasons and we're heading into season 4. I'm so grateful to have had you with me along this journey, and I can't wait to see where we go next. If you'd like to get your own Viva Aaliyah merch to go along this journey with, you can go to www.aaliyahmartinezqueen.com to check out everything Viva Aaliyah. You can also find out what's going on with me and see who's on our next episode. Once again, I can't believe we've made it to season 4 and that you've been along on this journey with me. Keep those glasses full and don't forget to tell me what's in that glass.
Oh, we're back.
A very quick commercial. Dominic, thank you for putting that up. I know I said it very quickly. All right. I'm not I think I'm a far-sighted person. That means you can see close but not far away. So I had to pull the card back. But the next question for you is, what has been the most memorable moment of your career?
Oh God. God. I don't know. There's so many. It's like each picture. When I look at the pictures, I remember the opening. I'll tell you one thing I remember. I mean, because one of my, oh God, how many things? I've had a long career. So
okay, I'll give you 3.
Okay, so one of the most memorable, even though there was the shot I took when I took this shot of Vanity Fair as Dorothy, Vanity Wigs by Vanity as Dorothy in Sydney. It's still my favorite picture, one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken, and it lives as a huge canvas in my home.
Oh, that's Vanity?
Yeah, she looks like Courtney. It's Vanity.
I swore it was Courtney the entire time.
No, she's 25. She's 25 then, and it's stick thin. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But anyway, did this shot, and it opened all sorts of doors for me, but was also agony because she was 3 hours late. I was shooting on film with no flash, no lights, and I was using natural light, and the light was going down and down and down. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
But what happened from that was I was forced to push, and I shot on film, and I was forced to push the film 3 stops, which means makes it really grainy. I was forced to do all sorts of stuff which actually gave it that feel of real old school Hollywood. But she turned up. She turned up 3 hours late, and then went, "Shame it's so dark." And I was like, "Just sit down." And I basically clicked a few things. I had a digicamera and a film, but the film one. And she was like, "Shame it's so dark," and was all nonchalant. And I showed her the back of one snap, and she went, "Oh my God." And then we just went crazy for 20 minutes as the light just disappeared, and shot as much as we could. And to this day, it's like, I remember it because because also it's my best-selling picture ever, and it put me through COVID. Basically, Kate Beckinsale has a copy of it, and she does things like jump around in her yoga pants in front of it on thingy, and then people go, "Who took that picture?" And then they come and buy it. It's brilliant. So basically, that picture has helped me. But that was one. So that's one.
Before
Opening the
you say the other one, I just want to say you can get that print You can also get it in other forms on
You
Magnus.
can get a canvas or a print from magnushastings.com. Yeah, signed print.
So go ahead, babe.
And then the other, I remember sitting on the stairs outside my apartment here when my first copy of Why Drag arrived, and because basically, so the publisher there, so they had someone designing it, and they gave me their first pass on the design, and I looked at it, and they put a lot of white space in and made it very art booky, and I just went, no, this is about drag. It's about nighttime creatures, and I don't want space everywhere. I want you to feel like you're completely immersed in this world. So instead of going, well, here's my note and here's this and that, I just redesigned the entire thing, sent it back, and every bit of any space was black. So it felt like, and everything was across 2 pages. So it felt like it's actually feels bigger than it is, because most pictures are across 2 pages. So then I sent it back to them, and they went, okay, so talk me through that. And I said, I want it like this because, and they did it page for page how I asked them to do it. So when I got the first copy, I opened it and I was like, oh my God. And I was going through it and normally, like anything, you go through there were a couple of times when I was putting it together where I'd go through pictures, and if I'd see a picture I hated, I'd just pull it out, because you want to love every picture that's in there. Yeah, that was the first time I met Bianca. And then my voodoo dolls of Courtney and Adore, that was the idea. Because it was just because the book came that was for the show, and the show happened literally, and I orchestrated it, so my show opened on the season finale of Drag Race, their season 6, so that it was all about Courtney, Adore and Bianca. So that was the point of that picture. But anyway, so they did it, and I've now lost my thread again. COVID head, sorry. This is it, that's my excuse. Not red wine.
Favorite moments. You're on.
Anyway, so sitting on my stairs and opening this, also being my first. I've been in other books, but having my own book that I'd worked so hard on, and I'd always been, my original book was going to be called Dragged Around the World, and I'd planned it for ages, and it just took me 10 years, but I got there in the end. And to have this drag book, and they did it and it was so beautifully done. It was like opening it and going, it feels really quality and really beautiful. And I had drag queens like Sister Roma and Peaches and Christ in San Francisco. And when I launched it, and they were all so proud to be part of it. That was what it was. They were all just like, this was Milk's first proper shoot, but since she came out, that was before the season aired, after they came out, because I got inside intel from.
You made Bunny look beautiful.
Thank you.
No, she is beautiful, but you made her stunning.
I had another picture of her with a big carrot in her mouth, and she wouldn't let me use it. I thought it was really funny.
You can use if you actually do ever shoot me, you can use whatever photo you want to.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, no, I think it was that. Well, I tend with actually no, I mean, in all seriousness, with Why Drag, I didn't let anyone choose their picture. That was for a different. It was a picture of me and her, and I think I was sticking a carrot in her mouth, and I was for like social media, and then she said no. But in the book, I would not let anyone choose that. I chose every picture. Had I allowed a drag queen to choose their own picture, it would have been a book that probably flopped, because all the drag queens are looking at are the angles of their jaw, and they're not looking at the story or the composition or anything. They're just seeing that they want their prettiest picture, which could mean nothing. So,
I mean, maybe I'm like weird. First of all, I just want to respond to one thing. If you want to stick your carrot in my mouth, we're good. Second of all, I don't know if I'm weird in this, but I always say to anybody that's photographing me or making something for me or making hair or whatever, put your artistry into it, because when you do that, it turns out better.
Oh no, most people do. Most people do. It's occasionally you get, yeah. I mean, I might be Alaska. Well, like when I work all the time with Alaska, and Alaska basically just says, no, you choose, because she trusts me and knows, that.
She's smart.
Yeah, she gets it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really feel like when you let the artist take control of their art, that's when you get to start. But yeah, sorry, I was interrupting your.
No, oh no, I don't know about a third, but I mean, there's so many things. I mean, it was difficult with my newest book. What was so frustrating was that it came out in the middle of COVID. So luckily I got the deal, and then I got the deal signed in January of 2020. And then I said to my agent, I was like, oh my, and then COVID hit, and I went, well, hopefully, thank God we signed the deal. And he went, oh, well, there's a clause in it that if, an act of force of nature, act of God or whatever, they can pull the whole thing. So I was like, oh my God. So thankfully they didn't. So the book still happened, but it also meant that it wasn't promoted in the way that, with Y-Drag, I had huge launches everywhere. And I did end up having a launch in November, like on the anniversary of the actual release of the book this year, well, last year, 2021. Which was really fun, and I got Mick there and Eureka and people performing and doing, so that was a fun launch to finally do, but it wasn't like what I really wanted to do, and to celebrate with all of especially because this was such a collection of queer people, and it felt like everyone's bored of the box by now. It's like, well, once you see the book, you're not, but they think of just, the book is different because it puts it together as a composition, so it's different.
We are,
and
not-
it has essence. I'm bored of the box. I threw it out the window. Me and my sister pushed it out the window.
So, we are going to do a giveaway. This is news. This is news to my producer Dominic. If you can comment in the name of Magnus's dog, then we are going to give away. We are going to give away his book, Rainbow Revolution, to you. So do it. Comment in Magnus's dog's name.
Hint, it's on my bio.
On his website. On his website, we're going to give away his book, Rainbow Revolution. And we're going to continue on until then. So the biggest question that I've got when I announced that Magnus Hastings was going to be on Viva Aaliyah was, how the hell do we shoot with Magnus? How do we get an appointment with Magnus? How do I be on his radar? So
you message me and you call me and you email me and then we discuss it. It's weird because I don't have I don't want to put a price list or a thing on my website because I charge different things for different people. If I'm shooting a successful drag race queen and they're using it for merch, I'm going to charge them more than someone who's coming here just wanting a shoot. So I don't want to, and I'm not expensive in reality, but I'm reasonable. So, but just get in touch with me and shoot me an email. I suppose I should be more. I'm not very business heady, so I'm kind of, all I want to do is create. So I'm not clever, I'm not sitting there going, I mean, Courtney acts brilliant at business. So you kind of like, it's annoying how good she is with business. But so I'm just like this creative who goes, well, yeah, no, they'll get in touch and they'll work it out. And I guess I should be more organized, but just go through my website, contact me and we can talk about it.
So anybody can shoot with Magnus Hastings.
Yeah. Of course.
You heard it here on Viva Aaliyah. I'm just kidding. So you actually have a pretty good relationship with Courtney Act, or
yeah, she's a great. We moved here. Go on. Sorry.
No. I want to hear what you were going to say before I say.
Oh no. Well, we did. Yeah, we met in Sydney when I was the second trip. Yeah, and I shot her. One of my first big spreads was for Blue Magazine, which now doesn't exist, but I shot her and then we would shoot. She came to London for a while, we'd shoot there. And then we happened to move to West Hollywood in 2011, both at the same time. So we would create together. We would have we had a complete laugh. We'd just come up with ideas and just enjoy shooting with each other. So she was my muse, I guess. And we would just, I shot her in a dumpster with rats running over her. We did all sorts of stuff. And then I shot her audition video for Drag Race. I did her and Farrah Moan. I shot those two audition videos. and we just we adore each other, and we've done, and so it was funny with when I did the cover for Why Drag, I did three covers. I did Pearl, Bianca, and Courtney, and at the time Courtney was going through her whole backlash of Drag Race, and it was having a horrible time. It's funny, people you look like, what backlash, don't you? But it was terrible for her. She had a horrible time. She was
Really?
she came out of that supremely unpopular, and she fought like a dog to get herself back on track, because it was awful. It was I witnessed it, and in hindsight now people don't remember it because she's so popular again now. But she went through a horrible. I remember when she was. I mean, I don't want to tell her story, but it was.
Oh, it's okay.
Well, no, but it was. She was watching. I remember her filming the show and coming to talk to me. Went for dinner afterwards, and she was saying, you know, oh my God, I had the best time. Bianca's going to win, I'm sure, but I had the best time. It was amazing, and all the producers would come and see what I was putting on the runway every week, and they were all excited by it. But you know, I don't think I'll win, but blah blah blah. And then as we started off, and she was fine, and then suddenly it kicked into about episode 5. And also remember, this was on the tail of they'd had 2 villains before. So they'd had the villain with the Sharon screaming villain. Oh, you know who I mean.
Fifi O'Hara.
Fifi, and before that they'd had and then the next season they'd had Roxy. So basically their go-to was they needed a villain. So they made Courtney like the self-satisfied, awful human being. And he said, but I did say, the one thing I did tell her off about was when they said, so why do you want to be America's next drag superstar? And Courtney said, well, I'm already Australia's drag superstar. And I was like, Courtney, why did you say that? Everyone's going to hate you. But anyway.
I love that.
No, but yeah, we love it now. But at the time, but meanwhile, even Bianca squished out a tear when she was talking about why she wanted to. It was like, you know,
Bianca will squish out a tear from anybody, though.
But Courtney's very, very special to me, and we did a lot together, and I'm very proud of her. And then she went off to, and then we lived literally, you know, a block apart. And then she went off. Now I spoke to her the other day because she's. And I complained I wasn't in her book enough because she's just released an autobiography. And I was like, I get one line, seriously? Are you kidding me? But yeah.
Well, you'll be in mine if I ever write one. But also, okay. I will happily work with you if you want to get me on Drag Race, because my first...
I don't do those videos. I'm so, to be honest, I'm kind of exhausted with Drag Race. Am I allowed to say that? It's like there's so many versions. I haven't watched the latest episode.
So here's the honest. Here's like the full honesty. The only reason I want to be on one of the reasons, we'll say that.
Money.
We're striking what I said before. One of the reasons I want to be on Drag Race is because they make more money than we do.
Oh no, of course, no, it's a huge opportunity. But it's like, I'm just saying, watching it before, it's like now also it's like 20 somethings, so there's no kind of generational interest. It's just all of the same, and it's the formulaic challenges. And it's like, okay, and then it's all about what you put on the runway. And you know, I saw Rouge screaming at someone in England about wearing something from H&M or whatever, and it's like, how dare you wear something from H&M? Well, that's part of drag. If they can make it work, it's fine.
Also, RuPaul, Drag Race America, your shapers were showing, babe. They were all showing, and if we did that on Drag Race, it's not cute. But also, like, I've mentored girls, 4 of them, that have been on American Drag Race, and I've helped them on their way, and I'm still like, okay, well, there it is.
Do you audition every year?
I did one audition, and
well, you've got to audition every year. It's like I'm with Nina. So with Nina West, who obviously I know very well, and I shot we're great friends, and I shot her for Why Drag, and then I was launching my book at DragCon, like doing an early secret release thing, And Rue came up to my stand to meet me, and even though I'd been on the show, but she came up to get a book, and they were filming it and doing whatever. And Nina was there, and I said, Nina, stay here, because Rue was coming, and I knew that Nina had put in 95 million takes. And Rue said, and I said, this is Nina West, out of drag, it's Nina. And Rue was much more interested in Nina, and basically said, I feel like I know you already. And Nina had gone, and she'd I think 1 year she'd just gone, I'm not sending in another fucking tape, I can't be bothered. And then she did, and then she made it, and now it's changed. I mean, of all the people who, not only it's changed their lives, but deserves it the most, is Nina West, because she's you must know Nina, right?
Nina is amazing. I love Nina. I Nina from Ohio.
She's like a good. I flew all the way to Ohio to shoot her, and I said, are there other amazing queens there? And she went, yeah, there are. And I got there, and I went, Nina, you're like the one. I mean, there others were fine, but they weren't. She was just would never do anything but build everyone else up, and would always giving and being generous, and not anyone she's not throwing pearls on the stairs to undercut anyone. It's marbles, pearls. What was it in Showgirls? Pearls.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were talking about Pearl.
No.
Who is actually on your website on merch, but yeah. Also shaded RuPaul, very good.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments. Well, is there something on my face? Is one of my favorite moments. You're talking about saying the other thing, but that was
my actual favorite moment of RuPaul's Drag Race. Is there something on my face?
Yeah, that was good.
He stares at her, just like, yes. Okay, there we go. If you want to win a copy of Magnus's book, Rainbow Revolution, we want you to comment in what is the name of his dog. Hint, you can find it on his website.
And also hint, it's there's a pop star whose last name is Michael.
Also,
who has the same name.
Wait, go back to that photo really quick. Can we talk about how handsome you are in this photo?
That's me being silly in my tux. That's me when I don't have COVID. I'm much more handsome when I don't have COVID.
No, but like you look the same right now. That's what I was about to say. You look exactly the same.
That was when I was living with that was when COVID hit, and actually it was really fun. I started this thing of so I was doing these things on the back of it like you're in prison in Thailand. So basically every day I did a thing took my dog, and it had to be me and George, and I created a different thing. So one day I was teaching him to count and there were like 3 cats, and I was going whatever. So every day I'd come up with something really stupid, but it had to be George and me. And I was doing it every day, and people got really into it. It's on my Instagram if you want to look. You can see it all the day. I did, I think, 35 days because it was supposed to be originally, remember, quarantine was going to be 3 weeks. And then it went on and on and on. And in the end, I woke up so pressured. I'd wake up going, what am I going to do today? Is it going to be funny? Will people like it? So I then just had to go. And everyone was upset because they'd said they would wake up going, what we're going to get today? They were much more into that than other bosses.
So like, because you just said that, when you put out a book, when you put out your normal Magnus everything, oh my God, so cute. Do you actually feel the same thing? Do you feel like, oh my God, what are people thinking?
Yeah. Well, the thing, with why drag, I was strangely confident with that, and I was right. Why drag still sells. Every single queen has a copy. It's like it goes round and round and round, and I think it's already 5 years old, over 5. It was 2016, so I still get it's the heart, and with weirdly with Rainbow Revolution, because I couldn't get the same kind of press or the same kind of push because of COVID. I won't even ask about sales, even though I had Devon Green, Devon Green. And she said to me, I'm in Palm Springs and it's on everyone's coffee table. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, good to know. And I hope that people take the time to look at it because it goes beyond this whole Instagram social media thing. And I reached out to different people who identify either sexually or genderly. Anyway, however so I had people different people telling their stories of gender identity and sexual identity. And there's about 19 of them. And it was to kind of almost help people who were going kind of bored of this whole, oh, really, they, them, and all of that. And to actually make people humanize it and let people look at it and see it in a way that made it easy and empathetic. So it's more than that. So you read people's stories and they're kind of beautiful stories. And one of my favorites is an older guy I've got in there who's an older gay guy. And he said, much as he loves the whole shift and this that we've had in the last 3 or 4 years, the real, no coincidence, during Trump's fascism, we really get this surge of change. But him saying he loves this change, but he no longer feels like he belongs here, and he longs for the days of like dark windows and cloak and dagger gay and feeling, men only and gay, because he doesn't feel like he fits in anymore. He's 75. And that was kind of heartbreaking and gorgeous as well. And it's his story and his truth. It was kind of, there's things in there that make the book move beyond just the box pictures and tell something else.
Do you have kind of an idea yet of what your next book will be, or what your next series will be? Maybe
I had an idea.
If it's no, I'm fine. I just want to know.
No, I do. I had an idea, and I tried to start the project, and I just got exhausted. I mean, I'm fucking exhausted. But the last book exhausted me, because when you're doing things like I've been doing, the 2 books I've done, you're calling people, you're pulling favors, you're going, people generally want to shoot with me, but still other people don't know who I am, or no, but so you're constantly kind of having to charm people and talk them around and do whatever. And I just got exhausted. And then with the new idea that I had, which I still want to do, plus it's difficult because it's like traveling again. I do have an idea, but then I'm not sure. I'm also working, which I probably shouldn't say because I'll jinx it, but there's an English production company, like a proper one, we're in talks, and they've started developing a potential documentary about me going from here back to the UK to do some stuff. So it's like I'm in talks with that, which would be amazing because I'd have other people actually having to do all the hard work. So there's that. But then I need a facelift before I do that, and then we'll be fine.
My husband is a doctor. I will hook you up.
A subtle male one.
He's a gay male. We're good.
There we go.
But do you have any hints on what your next book will be?
I don't know. I don't want to talk. I don't want to say.
Okay.
Because initially it wasn't going to be queer, and then I started shooting it, and then I went, actually, do you know what? It needs to be, because it's what fires me up and what makes me passionate. So initially it was a thing. I don't really want to share it because someone will nick it. It's because it's a really good idea, so I don't want to talk about it. But I mean, it's fine. But I just went. I went. Okay, no, it will be queer. I have the idea. I just need to like almost rev myself up and get the energy to go, right, I'm gonna run around the country again, or and I'm gonna do this and come to New York and all of that.
I volunteer as your assistant as long as I can be in the book.
Actually, I don't think you'd want to be in this book, and that's all I'm saying. I'll tell you backstage.
I want to be in any book you do. But anyway, okay. So, yes, we've answered all the questions. The last question is, what is coming up for you?
Yeah.
Not just the new book, but like what is coming up for you as an individual? What are you doing for you? How are you taking care of you? First of all, if you haven't heard, Magnus has contracted COVID, so send him all of like the love.
I'm coming out the other side, so I'm fine. It's been, and also because I'm triple vaccinated. Get vaccinated, everyone. It was mild. I mean, I had moments of going because I get stuff in my chest, so I was really worried. But basically, it was super mild. It was just like flu, coldy flu.
But if you want to support, send bottles of wine. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would have said Coke at one point, but don't send Coke. Just bottles of wine. Coke to clear my nose.
But what is coming up for you in terms of you? Not just your.
I'm trying to get I'm trying, but weirdly, the one thing that COVID did was made me go, I've spent 20 years so focused on my career that I've destroyed friendships, relationships, all sorts of things, because I've been so obsessed with my work.
Well,
huh?
I'm claiming friendship with you now. So
okay.
You have
so I've actually decided to kind of try and take a step back and actually work on my friendships and work on trying to, I've been single. I've been here for 10 years and I haven't had a boyfriend. It's like, so I've had a lot of sex, but I haven't had a boyfriend. So it's like,
hold on, I need a pause. A gorgeous man like you, looking like you do, sounding like you do, has not had a boyfriend?
Well, here, since I moved here, I mean, I've had kind of nearly. I've had anyway, but the point is to actually start focusing.
Literally about to pull the wig off and offer you me and my husband. just while we're here.
No, but it's just, but COVID made me think it's time to actually really work on my friendships. For instance, I would work and I'd take my computer to the bar. Everywhere I went, I'd be working on my laptop, and it became, not only was it work, but it's my defense. So I'd sit there and I'd talk to people if I wanted to, and I'd go off on my own. I'm very isolated, all of that stuff. So it's like a little creative monster. And so now I'm trying to take time to not do that. So actually not working on a new project means I actually go out and speak to people rather than go, yeah, or because if I shoot, I want to go and immediately look at the pictures and work on the pictures, and I get so tunnel visioned about it. So I'm trying to be kind to myself and find some kind of relationship before I'm so old nobody wants me. So that's the idea. That's how I'm looking after me.
Stop it. As so old nobody wants you. You're still young, you're still beautiful, you're still everything. Stop that.
I'm going to tape record this and play it as I'm lying in my bed. You're still young, you're still beautiful, you're still everything.
You are still young and beautiful. Stop it.
Everything.
You are though.
You are everything.
Look at this. My husband is even commenting it.
Thank you, Chip Bowman. What?
Zamora.
Thank you, Chip. Zamora.
The Zamora is me. It's because I'm Latino.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean honestly, you are a gorgeous man.
Okay, let's get off this. What about your year? What are you planning?
Oh, I'm on you. I'm on you. Well, what is on my year?
Yeah.
Interviewing you and making sure you know you. That's my year.
Making me love myself a little bit more, because if you can't love yourself.
Making sure you know your true value. Isn't that what your shirt says?
No, I don't know what it says. Oh no, it says Travel Lodge. True value, Travel Lodge.
Magnus, you are wonderful. You are beautiful. I love you. You are somebody that I've honestly been waiting to interview. So thank you for being on my show. I honestly can't think of somebody else that I would have rather had on season 4. So thank you. And I just want to say that your art is beyond photography. It's something that we all revere. It's something that we all want to be. It's Magnus Hastings. Like you are not just a person. You're a brand. You're a brand that we all strive to be. And when I said that, the question on Viva Aaliyah's response page was, how do I get to be photographed?
How's your drink going?
Yeah, my drink is going good. How do I get photographed by him? It was literally the number one question. So you have started a revolution in photography, and not just photography for drag queens, but for anybody that identifies as LGBTQIA.
Yeah.
So you have done something that has made an impact on our community so much that people are like, how do I do this? How do I get this individual, which is not just an individual but a brand, to get my face into their their house, their anything, their arsenal. And I honestly, like, my husband can vouch for this, which is why I drank more before the show than any other show. My husband can vouch for me. I was like, I have to look the right way. My nails aren't sticking on the right way. I was freaking the fuck out just talking to you, because I respect you and your art so much, and I think my viewers do as well. And we have, honestly, I don't know if it shows up on your screen, but my viewers are more than we have had in a lot of episodes, and it shows so much because of the fact that you are who you are and the brand that you have built. So
well, that's really, really, it's lovely to hear. Thank you, because it's really, you know, especially through COVID and through the last year, I've felt very kind of, it's been really tough. So hearing things like that it's lovely. So thank you.
I mean, it's the truth. You are Magnus Hastings, and Magnus Hastings will not only go down in drag history, but will go down in queer history and in world history as the person who captured drag in its prime and queer people in their prime. So thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for your contribution to our lives. And I will see you in 30 seconds.
See you in front of my camera.
Yes, while I close out the show, I will see you in 30 seconds. So
okay.
I love
Thank
you. Magnus Hastings, everybody. All right, bitches. I'm actually looking up what I'm doing next week because she's not prepared. All right. So next week, we have none other than, my husband is laughing at me, former Miss Continental Tiffany Ariagas. She is going to be with us on Viva Aaliyah. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for looking at me. Thank you for listening to us. Also, if you know the answer to our question, which is Magnus Hastings' dog's name, you have 24 hours to send that to us. 24 hours to send that to us before I take the vote, because I'll take 2 rather than 1. But other than that, I love you. Watch out for yourselves. Watch out for each other. Make sure you're taking care of each other. This is a day and time when we cannot afford to not watch out for our fellow LGBTQIA people. Trans women of color need to be watched out for more than we do. So make sure that anytime your girls are leaving the bars, when they're walking the streets, you are watching out for them. We are a queer community, and we're a community for a reason. I love you. Watch out for each other. And we'll see you next week with Tiffany Ariagas. Viva Aaliyah.
Viva Aaliyah. Viva Aaliyah. Viva Aaliyah.